We are in the dog days of summer and the weather is heating up, which you know what that means. We are right around the corner from infection. It is going to be awesome, but before we get into infection, we got to do a little bit of a recap of Summer of Reckoning. So with that being said, let's get right to it. So let's start this with the number one contendership for the Outbreak Championship, which was supposed to be between Hollywood Hunter James and the working team captain, Owen Knight. Now, let's start off by saying that this was supposed to be between these two simply for the fact that Hunter James still had to prove himself against a former Outbreak champion, which in turn ended up being the former VPW heavyweight champion in Owen Knight. However, first off, we got the debuting Rich Wise coming in and staking his claim at being a number one contender for the Outbreak Championship. I don't know why, but he wanted to show that he belonged, I guess. But even then, we had Wade Adams, the three-time Outbreak champion, come out, and he had an actual valid point here. He said that he's the three-time champion. Why isn't he in this match? Why doesn't he get another opportunity? So I want to be in this match too. And Josh Hancock was gracious enough to grant both Rich Wise and Wade Adams an opportunity at the Outbreak Championship, at least the number one contendership for the Outbreak Championship. But in the end, though, through everything, despite all of the situation getting flip-flopped and everything like that, it was Hollywood Hunter James proving his worth and getting the W against all three of those men and getting his opportunity at the Outbreak Champion. Now, speaking of the Outbreak Championship, we did have the Messiah Alexander Lev going up against Billy Brash, the Outbreak Champion. And in this case, I feel kind of bad for Alexander in this situation because he was supposed to have Chip Day in his corner to help him beat and take the title away from Billy Brash. However, Chip didn't show up. And it was Alexander on his own doing everything he could to try to counter the counter of Billy Brash. But in the end, it was Billy Brash with the double barrel knees getting the W and taking out Alexander. Now, I do feel kind of bad. I mean, he kind of brought this on himself. But at the same time, though, Chip did offer his services and then didn't show up. So how does Alexander deal with this situation with Chip? I'm pretty sure he's going to be upset at the fact that he got left high and dry. So on April 12th at All or Nothing, we had the situation between Josh Magnum and John Skyler, where Josh jumped the rail after John got in his face, pushed him. Magnum wasn't having it. He got upset, kind of got a little bit ahead of himself. Big brawl, yada, yada. We know the situation from there. Josh got an opportunity basically to become a Viral Pro Wrestling, competitor at this point. Now, I'm saying all that to kind of remind you that we're in this situation now coming into this recap where we didn't know who was going to be going up against Josh Magnum because it was John Skyler's choice as far as who was going to be the guy that was going to keep him from being a Viral Pro Wrestling competitor. And we got our answer. And it was quite bad, if you will, because it ended up being the big bad kaiju himself, O'Shea Edwards. And if you don't know who this guy is, which I do, he's all about getting paid to hurt people. And that's exactly what he did. He came into Viral. He came in to absolutely mangle Josh Magnum, and he did that throughout the entire time of the match. Josh was trying to duck and dodge and bob and weave, but every time he did, O'Shea was on him, and it was pretty much by the skin of his teeth and I think a metal pole to the head of the big bad kaiju out of nowhere that ended up getting Josh Magnum the opportunity to roll back in from the outside and getting the count out and getting his opportunity to be a Viral Pro Wrestling competitor now. So there's no question about it now. Josh Magnum is a competitor. He is in Viral Pro, and I'm sure that John Skyler is none too happy about that. So before Summer of Reckoning, the question that kept coming up in my mind was, are we seeing the cracks of C? Are we seeing that Drew Hood and James Johnson are just not getting along, that this reunion, if you will, is not really the reunion that we were expecting, that instead it's going to turn into an absolute crap show? So we see Drew Hood and James Johnson going up against each other for the Viral Pro Wrestling Championship, and all the while they were pulling the wool over our eyes because it ended up being a joke of a match with the finger poke of doom. Oh! And Drew getting the 1, 2, 3 on James Johnson. And they thought they pulled one over on us. But again, it's something about Joshua Hancock and just always being 2 or 3 steps ahead, or 6. Anyway, so he had a plan already in order just in case, and that plan was devised to bring out the former owner or part owner of VPW and Lodi and the returning that dude, John Davis. And you could absolutely see the anger from where I was sitting at. You got to remember that it was Drew Hood that cashed in on John Davis and took the Viral Pro Wrestling Championship from up under him when he was facing Preston Vance back in December. But every opportunity that John had to get his hands on Drew Hood, Drew would throw James Johnson in front of him, keeping him at bay, making sure that there was no way John was going to get his revenge. He pretty much sacrificed his stablemate and took the coward's way out. And because of his cowardly ways, we saw James and Mila Johnson pretty much giving him the riot act, yelling at him, understandably so. And in the midst of all that, we got a surprise message from the Latin lover, Gustavo! I love doing that. I just want to say that out loud. But we got a surprise message from Gustavo, who, of course, was recovering from the rib injury caused by the cowardly Drew Hood after that chair shot at All or Nothing. And he had the message to Drew Hood saying, hey, I'm cleared, baby. And he's going to be coming after the Viral Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Championship that Drew Hood currently holds. So it was supposed to be your hero, Erica Demia, going up against the prettiest prima donna in Kylie Alexa for the VPW Women's Championship. However, due to scheduling conflicts, Kylie Alexa wasn't able to be here in order to take on Erica for that title. That being said, Amanda Kiss, the beauty of chaos, stepped up and was like, I'll take a shot at that title. And she came in and absolutely put Erica Demia to the test. She did everything she possibly could to rip that title away from your hero. But it was the girl that goes beyond, that went beyond again and got the 1, 2, 3 on Amanda Kiss. And in celebration, though, however, we saw the Marvel, Mila Johnson, come out of nowhere and attack Erica Demia, and on top of that, put her in a new submission that she refers to as the Ultimate Nullifier, and nullified Erica Demia in the process. I gotta say that since Mila has made her debut in Viral Pro, she made it well known that she was coming after that title, and she has been an absolute thorn in Erica Demia's side. I gotta say, Mila's probably feeling pretty confident right now with her chances of taking that title. It was the Superstars, I hope I did that right, doing their first title defense, and they had a tall task ahead of them when they faced TNT, the sons of Devon Dudley, one half of the Dudley boys, in their first title defense, like I said, and TNT showed up and showed why they are as good of a tag team as advertised. I mean, they've learned a lot from their dad, but in the end, it was 27 Club that ended up being the last thing that TNT felt, and the Superstars retaining their titles and going on into Infection as champions. I say that because I think, from what I'm seeing on the interwebs and everything, the Country Gents are still scoping out the landscape of the tag team division in Viral Pro. They've been saying things and hinting at things that makes me think that they are very, very interested in what's going on with the VPW tag titles. So at the end of the night, we had the WWE ID prospects grace us with their magnificent talent, where we had the Carolina Reaper, the current WWE Evolve champion, facing Super Sean Legacy in a match that, this wasn't for the WWE Evolve championship. This wasn't for any championship. This was for bragging rights. This was for pride, if you will. I mean, think about this. Since Holiday Havoc, these guys have been in lockstep, going back and forth, going tick for tack, trying to prove who's the best, coming from Viral and transcending into other places, all the way up into WWE, all the way up into WWE Evolve. And you have Jackson Drake, who beat Sean Legacy, as well as two other individuals, to get that title. And yet, Sean Legacy still wants a piece of Jackson Drake. And this all stems from Holiday Havoc, when Jackson Drake and Alexander Lev put the boots to Cody Fluffman and put him out indefinitely. This rivalry has started since then and has transcended from Viral all the way to WWE. Now, we had a fantastic match. These two guys showed exactly why WWE plucked them out of the pile. But let me just say this for the record. As great as that match was, it was ruined because Alexander Lev decided to come out and do the exact same thing that he tried to do with Cody Fluffman to Sean Legacy. But things were different. Definitely different because, again, they've been in lockstep, Jackson Drake and Sean Legacy. This rivalry is not just about Hateful and Faithful versus Buff and Fluff. No, now we're talking about two WWE ID prospects that are trying to one-up each other. And in my personal opinion, when Alexander Lev came out and cost Jackson Drake that match against Sean Legacy, and you could see the anger in Jackson Drake, I don't think it was because of, I can't believe you cost me. It was pride. But it was simply the fact of, I wanted to prove that I was better than Sean Legacy, and you ruined it for me. So while Alexander Lev is putting the boots to Sean, he's trying to call Jackson Drake over. Jackson looks at that WWE Evolve Championship, looks at what's going on with Alexander and Sean Legacy, and realizes in that moment, you just ruined my opportunity to finally put this to bed that I'm better than Super Sean Legacy. I'm out. And he walked out on his tag partner in Alexander Lev. I hate to say it, but Jackson Drake has the right to do that because, again, this rivalry has been going on and has transcended from Viral to WWE. They're in lockstep. And they don't care about anything else but proving that they are the best between the two. But for poor Alexander Lev, because of the situation, he was left high and dry. And because of his troubles, he took two shambles for it. And I got a glimpse of Alexander Lev after that fact. And I thought he would be sad about it or hurt by the fact that he was betrayed by his friend. But no. I've never seen Alexander Lev so unhinged. Man, Summer of Reckoning was a record-breaking show. It was awesome seeing everybody there. The building was filled up, and I am super proud of where we're at. But we got to go into Infection. It has been 9 years since Viral Pro has came onto the scene, and we're still going strong, and we're going into Infection August 9th, 2025, prime time indeed. We're going to have some amazing matches. Do not miss this show. It's going to be absolutely bonkers. Hey, I'll see you there, and I cannot wait to call this show.